Hey you guys, what's going on? I wanted to start out this video a little bit differently than all of my other videos because I'm not going to sit here and pretend there aren't tens of thousands of other videos on how to run 35s on Tacoma, what you need to do to make sure that they fit, all that. I wanted to create a video that really gives real life kind of experience and research and my thoughts when just an everyday person wants to run larger tires. And a lot of these things that I'm going to bring up don't necessarily get brought up in other videos. So I wanted to create that video for you so that you can be more informed than just watching a video that's by someone who's just saying you got to do cab mount chop and you're good to go. So with that in mind, let's get into the video. Hey you guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about fitting larger tires on your Toyota Tacoma, like this one behind me. Specifically 35s, why I might not have gotten 35s, and what I've learned over the course of 4 years of wanting 35s and eventually just not getting them. So why did I not get 35s? I did all the work for 35s. I saved up for 35s, talked about 35s for 4 years. Why don't I have 35s? Well, the biggest thing that I found that differentiates 35s, true 35s, and 34s is weight and actual diameter. You will find that most 35s, take BF Goodrich for example, their KM3 35 by 1250 measures out in diameter on the tire and inflated at around 34.4 inches. A lot of people will tell you it's not a true 35. These, and I'll flip the camera around here in a second, these Thompson Baja bosses are a 34 by 12, and they actually measure out to 33.9 according to Thompson's website. I actually measured 33.7, but from an optics standpoint, it's a 35. I've been asked a million times, not a million times, I've been asked quite a few times now, oh, you got 35s? I'm like, nope, just looks like it. Because the difference between 33.9 and 34.4 on a true 35 for most tire brands is super minimal. So next, let's talk about what I needed to do to fit these. I was preparing for 35s, I went 34s, super happy I did it, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did to prepare for larger tires, and then kind of some more stats behind these Thompson Baja Boss tires, which I love, by the way. So one of the first things that I did was I did a Viper cut. You can tell here, if I back out a little bit, that the bumper is actually cut. I cut that because the front of the tire, when it articulates forward, is going to want to cut into your fender liner there. If I back up over here, you can see my fender liner is cut, and a lot of that stuff's exposed, but there's a bunch of Deutsch connectors, so all the lights are protected. So if you're not running an aftermarket bumper, this is an awesome solution that you can do instead. I think it looks really good. I love the original body lines of the Tacoma a lot. I'll probably end up getting a bumper at some point in time because the Icon springs that I have in here are rated for 700 pounds. And that was intentional. So at some point I'll probably add that on there. But for right now, whoops, a little light dance there. But you can tell here from the front, that that bumper is cut off right there. The next thing you'll have to do is a cab mount chop. Now I did a pretty aggressive one. I didn't do it myself, but some will tell you you need to opt for a cab mount relocation kit, and those are great too, but this one is chopped at a good angle where I don't need it and I don't rub at all. I also hammered back the pinch welds here so that doesn't rub in there, and so far I've had no issues. You can tell here from the fender, let's back it up a little bit, that I did have to cut the actual fender itself, which was fine. I think for the most part it looks pretty OEM. I got to keep my liners in there with the exception of cutting the front here and then having to cut this right here and hammer that back. But yeah, so those are kind of like the main things that you want to do when you want to fit tires of this size. It kind of goes without saying, but one of the biggest things you can do to accommodate 35s is upgrade your suspension. I upgraded these fairly recently. This rock light's about to go off, but I upgraded to Icon 2.0 rear extended reservoir shocks with a Icon RXT Stage 3 leaf pack. That did effectively lift the back more than it was before, which I like a lot. But it also leaves room for the 34s, sorry. And I think overall it's just a really good setup. In the front, you definitely can't do this with what I had before. I was running Bilstein 6112s, and now I have an Icon 2.5 extended travel front with the reservoir SPC upper control arms, which are controllable or adjustable rather. And then for this wheel specifically, I needed to run a wheel spacer so that I wouldn't rub on the inner wheel. And you can actually see the spacer right in there from Summit. I know I'm fighting daylight here, but we're doing the best we can. Another thing that I can't really show in a video of the vehicle and tires themselves is weight. 35s are heavy. 35s are really heavy, especially when you get a mud terrain, because everyone wants 35 in mud terrain. Why would you get a all-terrain in a 35? I opted for all-terrains because I ran mud terrains for 4 years. Shout out Falcon Tire, great mud terrain, but over time they just get super loud, and that was something I didn't want to deal with again. The Mickey Thompson tires, on the other hand, are very quiet, super aggressive. Like I said at the beginning, I've done a lot of research on tires over the last 4 years because I wanted 35s and now I'm on 34s. Not ashamed to say it. But yeah, so weight. Why is that so important? Well, the more rotating mass you have, the more your truck needs to pull along. A lot of us know that these Tacomas aren't very good on gas mileage. So what I wanted to do was find a tire that was both light and big, and that's what these are. So these are big enough to where I think they match exactly what I'm looking for, but they're light enough where they actually didn't decrease my gas mileage at all when I went up from 285s. So those were like 33s, 32 point somethings. And fun fact, these 295s, these 34x12s, are lighter than my mud terrain Falcon tires. And that's saying a lot. There's so much weight that goes into these different compounds, whether you're E-rated or D-rated or C-rated or whatever it is. I think it's really important to kind of keep in mind what exactly you have planned for your build specifically. Now I know what most of you are thinking, Nick, why would you make a video about trying to convince me not to get 35s? Well, chances are you're not some guy on Instagram or YouTube who's kind of got it made. You're like me. You're trying to daily your truck, you drive it to and from work, to and from dinner, and it's still your Overland weekend rig. So I say this because it's a huge investment. I haven't done it myself, but I can feel my wallet burning just thinking about it. So that's the reason I went this route in particular. So at the end of the day, as it is now, the white balance is a little weird. It's much darker than it looks on camera. At the end of the day, I'm really not trying to convince you not to get 35s. I'm just trying to put out a video that tells you to kind of stay informed, get the best information you can. Don't jump into something this big thinking that it's gonna be all good and dandy. You know, 35s are big, even 34s are big. You put a lot of stress on components that are not used to that level of weight down low. Your spindles will get messed up. Bushings are going to wear out quicker. So all things you really got to think about ahead of time. If you're going to drive it just on the street, I think you're probably fine. But if you're out here trying to off-road and wheel your truck, and you just throw 35s on there, hack job it off, and just hope for the best, I don't think that's going to work in your favor. But who am I to say? There we have it, you guys. That was my spiel on running 35s, or I'm running 34s, but what I think you should be thinking about when considering running 35s on your Toyota Tacoma. If you haven't watched a video before and this is your first time joining the channel, welcome. Consider subscribing, hit that like button on this video, drop me a comment below because I've yet to respond to a comment. I don't get too many, but I'm always welcoming more. So until next time, enjoy the ride. We've got a very patient pup today. He's been in the car this whole time. Hi, Bucky. I promised you guys that he would be in a video at some point. I know. He was so good. There we have it, you guys. As I mentioned at the very beginning, I'm not trying to separate myself by saying this video is more or less informative than any other of those tens of thousands of how to run 35s, how to run 34s, how to run bigger tires on your Tacoma. I just felt that when I was doing my research, there was never a video like the one I made that really took into account the different aspects and consequences of running larger tires on a Toyota Tacoma. So definitely some good things to think about, keep in mind before making this jump, because as I mentioned, it's a huge investment and there's a lot of things that you might not have thought about beforehand if you're going to make the jump to 35s. That said, I'm hoping at some point in time that I'll be on 35s as well. But for now, the 34s are perfect for me. And for the second time in this video, enjoy the ride.